Hey, everybody, I'm Lynn Petrock, Senior Editor at Progressive Grocer, and welcome to Top Women in Grocery. It's a podcast focused on the trends, topics, and interests that move women forward in grocery retail. We spotlight extraordinary women in the grocery industry with interesting lives and successful careers who make a positive impact in their workplaces and their communities. And today we're so happy and honored to have one of our 2024 TWIG winners in the house. So welcome to Karla Quandt, District Store Director at the Hy-Vee in Shawnee, Kansas. Welcome, Karla.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's get into your bio a little bit so our audience knows a little bit more about you. Karla began her career at Hy-Vee in 2007 at the Carroll, Iowa store as a part-time checker and stocker. In 2009, she transferred to Windsor Heights, and in 2012, moved to the East Euclid Hy-Vee in Des Moines. In 2013, she was promoted in rapid succession to full-time service manager at the Prairie Trail location in Ankeny, where she held various management roles. In 2018, she moved to Olaf, Kansas, where she became assistant director of the West 151st Street store, and later that year became assistant store manager. In 2021, she became store manager of the Shawnee Hy-Vee, and in 2022 received her first district store director assignment in Builtin, Missouri. In 2023, she returned back to Shawnee, where she holds her current role as district store director. Also in 2023, she received the Member of the Year award from the Builtin Chamber of Commerce. She's volunteered for a variety of organizations, such as the You Matter Builtin Lions Club, Builtin Education Foundation, Life Quest Church, Builtin Parks and Recreation, and Cambridge Elementary School. And in 2024, she was named a top woman in grocery from Progressive Grocer in the store managers category, which is one of our favorite categories to judge and review. So again, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's truly an honor to be here.
Well, we always love talking to people who start their career, as so many people do in this industry, right at the ground level, working as a cashier and a stocker. So tell us a little bit about your journey in grocery. It's been pretty successive and quick over, based on the bio we read. How did your beginnings shape your career, Karla?
Absolutely. Well, just like any kid, my parents said, go get a job. And so, and in my small town, there's, maybe 6 or 7 options. And so I picked what most of my friends were doing at the time, and that was working at Hy-Vee. Honestly, the reason why I chose it, I played a lot of sports growing up, and Hy-Vee is very flexible with their part-time workers. And so they were, absolutely fantastic with me. But from that start in Carroll is really what shaped me. I got the privilege to work in a lot of the departments in that store. So cashier, checker, kitchen, deli. And it was just, it was a lot of fun. A lot of the folks that are still at that location, I still reach out to as, some of my biggest mentors growing up. But I'll tell you, it started there, and I never thought that I would be here today. If I were to go back to 17-year-old Carla, I would have never been like, you're going to be a store director, But it's absolutely amazing, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I would say just growing within the positions. I always just looked at it, and I was like, how can I be great at what I'm doing, in any position that they asked me to do? And so I would say just starting with the great leadership and mentors that I had, and then growing up and just, taking each position that Hy-Vee's asked me to do and do the best I absolutely can be and just be me is really what shaped me to be where I am today.
And there's so many lessons to be learned when you're that age across departments. My son's girlfriend is from Boynton and started working at Hy-Vee in the bakery. That was her first job. And she talks about, it's not something that she went into her career path now, but she talks about everything she learned from it. There's so many life lessons to be learned. And at some point, did it click on that this is a career, and you moved just pretty rapidly? Is that at some point when you learn more about the departments? And
yeah, I would say when I found out it was going to be a career for me is actually not what I would say most people that started. So I graduated from college in 2013 with an exercise science degree with an emphasis in cardiac rehab.
Wow.
And so I actually did an internship in cardiology, and that's what I thought I was going to do, is get into the medical field. And when I graduated, I just couldn't find a job in that exact field. And so I was like, well, I worked for Hy-Vee. I know that there's a position here. I'm just going to start working there, and I'll go back. But when I started full-time in 2013, I was approached by one of the leaders of Hy-Vee, and they said, why don't you make this a career? And I was like, I really like, my passion is taking care of people. And that's really what I want to do. And they looked at me and they said, you can take care of people at Hy-Vee and do it here. And from there, that moment, that conversation, that's what decided my career. And it's absolutely 100% correct. Is in my mind, when I was 23, I thought that taking care of people was being in the medical field. And that's not at all what it is. And every day I can say that I passionately love what I do, and it's because of the people.
And what a great manager. And I'm sure you've learned this lesson in your management career, to be able to see that in somebody else and to foster that, to see that and be like, yeah, you need to be in this industry. So, the person that saw that in you, is that something you've done for others too? I'm sure you see it.
Oh, absolutely. And I will tell you, whether it's the 16-year-old kid and it's their first job, because I always remind, especially my managers, is remember, go back to your first day. How did you feel? And, and I always remind myself that too, as we do have a lot of younger kids, part-time employees, and just say, what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to be? And my example is a prime reflection of, I wanted to get into the medical field, and I thought I was going to, never once did I think business was going to be in my future. And it's so, it's kind of funny to look back on it now and just be like, like a lot of my job is business, but truly what I love about it is I can do that side of it, but have my passion towards, the communication with my people and customers and all that as well. And that's what truly makes it. But I would say, I've had multiple employees reach out to me, or honestly, people that aren't employees anymore that have gone further on, and they didn't choose Hy-Vee, and that's okay. But they always come back and say, it's because of this one conversation you had with me, or it's because when I was a department manager, this gal actually opened up her own business, and she said, and she was like my right hand at the time, but she said, I wouldn't have been able to do this if you wouldn't have taught me all the life lessons within running a department. And that was honestly amazing. And I hadn't talked to her in like 4 or 5 years, and she reached out to tell me that and to thank me for everything that I've done for her. And that's what it's about, though, is, somebody did it for me, and my goal is to help as many people as possible reach their goals, find their success. And that's again really why I love working for Hy-Vee, because that's what we're about. And we're about, finding that within people and making the best of the best.
And maybe I'm biased, but this industry really is one of paying it forward, and you can see that in your organization, especially too. But it's really big in this industry, maybe because there's so many people working in so many different ways to ultimately, provide sustenance and essentials for consumers. I'm not quite sure what it is. I haven't put my finger on that. What it is about this industry, but it sure is something about paying it forward.
Absolutely.
And you talked a little bit about the business side of and the things that you enjoy doing. So how do you approach activation at the store level in terms of getting team members engaged and serving customers for the betterment of the business?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of us, even if everybody listening right now, we know that retail is beyond challenging, and it's kind of like you got 100 things coming at you at once, and you got to be able to accomplish all 100. And I would tell you the biggest thing is you as a leader being organized. That's one of the first things that I always tell myself is, if I don't know where the road's going, how am I going to explain that to my team? And so I would say very first and foremost as a leader is you have to have a plan yourself. But once the biggest thing in order to motivate and engage your people, I always come at it with a very positive, enthusiastic energy. And I always say lead by example, because if you're not excited about it, if you're not motivated about it, then why would your people be? And so that's what I always tell is, whether it's a challenge of, hey, we got to produce 100 cupcakes in the next 30 minutes for this order because it's really important for this organization that asked for it last minute. Just, an example is if I'm excited about it and I'm going to say, hey, if we do this, they'll probably do it every single time and they'll give us a better advance, order in the future. But again, it's about explaining it, explain the why, be motivated. I always say explain the why, because sometimes if you go up to your team and you're just like, hey, go do this, and you walk away, they're going to be like, why am I doing this? But if you're like, hey, I would like you to do this because it's very important for our customers, and this is why, and it's going to create more success in the store, and it's going to create more sales. It's going to be better for the experience and atmosphere for our customers, And I always just say the communication part of it is so key, because it's what enables your people to understand and be able to get their jobs done. And so that's what I would say is One, attitude. I'm always about, your attitude means everything, especially as a leader of a store organization.
Setting the
And you
tone.
have to be able to, because your attitude's contagious. If you're in a bad mood, your team's going to be in a bad mood. If you're in a great mood, guess what? Your team's going to be oh, Carla's in a great mood today. It's going to be a great day, And so I would say it starts with attitude, but also you have to be able to create the roadmap for your team so they know where they're going.
Well, and absolutely. And in that roadmap, things are coming at you fast and furious all the time. So you can take a beat and say, ask the why. And you can also take a beat and look at that. How far ahead do you look at that road? Is it necessarily in terms of seasons and times? But, what do you think about that? What's the road, I guess, to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I will say you have to look ahead in the future, So like right now we're getting into the holidays, but we have to start thinking about the first of the year and what's coming next, And so obviously people's diets are going to change. Business is going to be a little bit not as busy, obviously, as during the holidays. And so I will tell you, like, my roadmap is already set, 3 to 4 months out. But the biggest thing is we have to be able to be agile, because my plans for 4 months now might change in 4 months, and more than likely they will. But at least you have that foundation of understanding, okay, hey, let's start working towards this. But with my team, I'll be honest, I do a week to 2 weeks out tops. They have the general idea of, obviously, the holidays, what's coming next, obviously after the new year, we're going to start focusing on other initiatives and other focuses. But every single week, what I do is I obviously meet with my managers every Monday, and we go over the roadmap of what's happening this week, whether it's what's in the ad, what's local, what's happening in the store, what exciting things that I've decided that we're going to do this weekend that I just decided last night laying in bed. And I'm just like, you know what, Sam,
that sounds great.
We're deciding it. but always talk about, that week, what we're up against in sales, what we need to accomplish as a team, each department, push items, whether, each department's going to have certain things that they're going to be focused on and pushing. And then we briefly talk about the next week's ad sales, things like that. And so I will, communication's key. I always say, obviously, you can send all this in an email, breaking it down. And I do, just because some people like the bullet points. But if you don't discuss it in person and have that actual conversation with your people, you're never going to get the true activation out of it. Is how I feel, and what I've seen has worked in my store.
Yeah. So the activation at the store level is at the people level.
Yes,
and the individual
absolutely.
level, for sure. And we know that change and competition are hallmarks of this industry, especially the first part of this decade. So, how do you describe those attributes, change and competition, in your service area? And does that influence your strategies?
Yeah, absolutely. I will tell you, it's a fascinating time to be a leader in retail. And I will tell you, everybody, I'm one of the younger directors here, and some of the older guys, that have worked 20, 25 years are like, hey, Carla, like, this is definitely one of the toughest times. And I was like, well, I'm glad it's, my first experience getting into this. And I'm like,
yeah.
So I was like, sometimes I'm like, it does get better, right? And so but
different ways to go, right?
Yes, no, absolutely. I will tell you, like, the economy, especially right now, it's tough. It is tough for every single American right now. It is truly, budgets are a lot tighter. People are being creative about how they spend. They're not spending as much. And what a lot of business industries right now are doing is finding ways to show greater deals, lowering prices, showing value. And obviously that's exactly what we did at Hy-Vee as well. As we really took a self-reflection and said, let's listen to our customers. Let's show them that we are right there with every single other business out there. And so we've recently just lowered thousands of prices, and the prices are matching some of the largest retail competitors out there within our industry. And so not only did we lower the prices, but we're showing it in store level and being able to prove that, hey, we're priced this price and we're matching this competitor. And what it really does is what we're trying to show our customers is, one, you can shop at Hy-Vee and get those prices. You don't have to go anywhere else. But not only can you get those low prices, you're going to get the absolute best service that you will not get anywhere else. And that's what Hy-Vee's known for, is our service, whether it's, our friendly staff, the quality of our products, the value added that we have, the variety that we have. We have so much to offer at Hy-Vee that you won't find at most other retail competitors, if not any. And that's what we truly have done, and what we've been able to react and say, hey, still come to Hy-Vee or come back to Hy-Vee. You don't have to go to this store to get low prices. Come to Hy-Vee, get the low prices, and then get the amazing produce quality. Get your charcuterie board. Get your daughter's first birthday cake. And if you want it the exact way that you're visioning it, Hy-Vee can do that for you. And guess what? Then you can come back for her second birthday, and then her graduation, and then her wedding. And that's what it's all about with Hy-Vee. And sorry, I go off on a tangent sometimes because I'm so passionate about what we do. Is we're truly at Hy-Vee. What we want to do is we want to be a part of your life from the beginning to end, And so what I'm talking about is the birthday, the wedding, the graduation, the special business occasion. That's what it's all about. And we want to be able to take care of it with the catering aspect of it, the customization of whatever tray you want. But then we want you to come in and grocery shop with us too, because we have the best products. And like I just said, is we've reacted and we've lowered thousands of prices to be able to show our customers that we get it. Right now is tough, but we're doing everything in our power to be able to help them save money.
Well, and you have this built-in loyalty. I mean, I've been to lots of Hy-Vee stores over there, and boy, you can feel the loyalty there. And loyalty is based on what? Trust, right? So you're able now they can trust you to understand what they're going through with their budgets and with their daily lives, and also trust you to make their experiences special when they're ordering those cakes and those cookies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that is again, like you said, you've been into Hy-Vees. You have those customers that they are beyond loyal. They
really are. Yeah.
Honestly, I have a handful of customers that will come in 3 to 5 times a day. But they're retired, but guess what? At that point, I might as well hire them to work for me, right? But that's what it's about, is when you build that loyalty and trust, they're going to go tell their friends, their neighbors, everybody around. And that's truly what it's about. And based off, and again, I'm biased because I work for Hy-Vee, but I just don't hear or see that from any other grocery store or retail competition around us.
Well, and it's kind of nice because you could go to Hy-Vee for breakfast because you guys do like a rock star breakfast, and then come back and do your shop or do it all at once. There's lots of reasons, for people to come back, for sure.
Absolutely.
Maybe that'll be me when I'm old. I'll be someone that will be coming to the grocery store 4 times a day.
Make you a part-time checker. Watch out.
There you go. You won't get me to stop talking. And you're also known for community programs, right? And you do that on a personal level, but Hy-Vee is really known as part of the culture for doing that as well. Are there any of those programs that you're particularly proud of in terms of things that you've been able to do in your stores, Carla?
Yeah, absolutely. I will tell you just kind of what I said at the beginning is when I said I wanted to take care of people, and that was a part of it where it really clicked, honestly, in the past couple of years, once I became a store director and getting more involved in the community, is really seeing that you can take care of people beyond the store. And when I first got my first store director position at Builtin, I became a part of the chamber, and that was actually the eye opener for me. And they got to see my passion behind what I did at the store. And so they're like, hey, we want this passion in our community. And so they actually, they made me a member of the board. And then, as you mentioned, I got the Member of the Year award just because of all the involvement I was in, whether it was not missing a coffee social hour to going to anything and everything, being involved in the schools, being involved in the nonprofits that were just trying to make a difference. That part of it really is what really stuck out to me, to be able to always do that moving forward, no matter what community I'm in. And so obviously those highlights were in Builtin, and I'm now in Shawnee. And I've done the exact same thing since starting here. As I met with the chamber, I actually got to meet with the mayor, and Shawnee is a little bit larger than Builtin. And so you're looking at a higher population, a bigger chamber. But I was like, hey, I've done this and I want to do it for you guys. And they were kind of like starstruck. They're like, you want to be a part of the golf tournament and you want this and you want that? And I said, yes, because that's what it's about. And, meeting with the mayor and just simply asking, what can Hy-Vee do to help the community, or what can I personally do to help the community? Because obviously I have that self-reflection. People are going to ask where I work, and I want to be able to make a difference. Like I said, whether it's being involved in the chambers, the high schools, we have 5 to 6 high schools around our store, and we reach out to the sport or the director. Why am I drawing a blank of what?
Athletic directors.
Yeah, there we go. I was like, why did that not come to my head right now? But the athletic director, and saying, okay, hey, have your kids come in. So every single weekend, what we do at my store is we'll have a different sports team come in on Saturday and Sunday. And what they do is they'll actually do courtesy for us to help raise money for their sporting event. Or we have the Boys and Girl Scouts, or we have different club teams come in. And it's our involvement of helping the community and helping the youth. But of course, on my end, if I see somebody that's doing a great job at courtesy, I'm going to say, hey, do you need a job?
Exactly. That's self-perpetuating.
It's a win-win for everybody. But again, just getting involved. I will. I thought one of the coolest things that happened right when I joined Shawnee was the fire department always comes in and shops. And so I just started talking to him every single time. And I got to be really close with the captain. And he actually found out that one of my employees that works in my meat department, him and her served overseas together and ran into each other at the store, and they hadn't seen each other for years. And so I was like, that is awesome. Like, and so we all just, bonded over that and just how small of a world it can be. But when he retired, he personally invited me to his retirement party that the fire department threw for him, because he wanted people there that have made an impact on his life. And I thought that was truly special to be a part of that. And again, it was the entire fire department, the mayor, a lot of the first responders. And so again, being involved with the first responders part of it, just this past Thanksgiving, actually what we did at my store is at lunch, we served a Thanksgiving meal to all the first responders in Shawnee as just hey, thanks for working today. And, that little goes a long way of just saying, hey, at Hy-Vee, we care. And they're going to go talk about it. And then that's what it's all about, is being that involved in the community. So people do, like, you go back to you want them to trust you. You want them to know that, they can be loyal to you and get the best service that they absolutely can.
Well, and people who work in fire departments, those crews are notoriously famous, not notoriously, but they are famously amazing cooks. So they probably buy a lot and cook some great things.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always funny. They'll come in and be like, hey, what should we put in the cart this week? Do you have any ideas? And that's, and that's what it's about, whether it's a first responder or just any customer. It's helping them figure out what their meal solution is.
When you talked earlier, Carla, about, talking to people and modeling things for your staff, is that infectious too? Do you find that people get involved in the community when they see you doing it?
Yeah,
they're so enthusiastic.
Yeah. And I will tell you, you'll have the folks that want to get involved. And then you'll have of course, the ones that are just like, I don't want anything to do with talking to people. And that's okay, and like, or a community involvement. But as they can see, I think a lot of my employees will look at me and be like, how do you do it? And, how do you get involved? Or like, how do you?
It's a lot of time.
Yeah, no, it is. And I will tell you that is a lot of it. It is time consuming. It is more obviously added to your plate, but the reward that I personally get from it, knowing that I'm giving back in some way, shape, or form, or helping in some way, shape, or form, is 100% worth it. And so I will tell you, like, when I was in Builtin, of course, my assistant actually got beyond involved, that he actually went out and joined 3 to 4 organizations himself and said that it's absolutely amazing. And till this day, he still is super involved with those organizations still in Builtin. And that's always great to see. And even currently in Shawnee, I just told you how my meat employee ran into the firefighter that she knew. And I was telling her, hey, this is what we do. We're going to, I went to his retirement party. She's like, how do you do all this? How do I get involved? Let's do this together. And so again, as you say, that it is truly a great reflection and a lead by example type kind of thing of how to give back. And I have seen it within my employees.
And making those relationships are so important too, because sometimes bad things happen in communities. We've seen it in with the hurricanes, Helene and Milton. We've seen it with Hy-Vee has that amazing response
disaster relief program.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. But these kind of things, so when the rubber meets the road, when those difficult situations, you've got relationships that you can count on too, when people look to you for assistance as a store, as a retailer.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is, we've seen that not only, as me as a director, I guess, in my town, but we've seen that as Hy-Vee as a corporation, is people know to contact us when they need help or assistance, because we will be there. And that's what, not only me being community involved, but our entire, Hy-Vee as a corporation, we are first and foremost, helping out our communities and giving back in any way, shape, or form, whether it is donating millions of meals or helping, kids overseas in any way, shape, or form. It's truly amazing what Hy-Vee does as a totality, honestly, of how we do give back.
You show up in every way, however that means. So looking back on your career and how you've moved up quickly and you moved around to different things, what advice would you have for your 17-year-old self, or someone maybe that you see in a store that's maybe 17 now that you've hired? I know that's a big question, but if you had a nugget of advice to give.
Absolutely. I would say you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. Guess what? And that's the thing is, even myself till this day, I'm very self-critical. I'm very hard on myself, and I don't want to make mistakes, but I think it's okay, especially when you do make a mistake, learn from it. That's the biggest thing is I will say you're going to make mistakes, and it's okay, but learn from it and don't let it happen again. And if you think it's going to happen again, then ask for assistance, ask for help, and just know that one, you're going to make mistakes, but that's how we grow. Two, I would just say, don't get discouraged or frustrated because it's not happening right now. I think a lot of, especially younger kids, honestly, anybody right now, we live in a right now world where we just think it's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen next week. And I think the best advice ever given to me as I was growing up within Hy-Vee is I was told, you need to be absolutely amazing in this role and in this position for a year. Experience all the seasons, all the holidays, feel good about it. And then guess what? Your second year, it's going to be a little bit easier. And I go back, and I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but the UConn basketball coach did a video where handle hard better. I still remember that, like that's one of my biggest motives right now. And what I actually tell a lot of my team is it's going to be hard your first time. Guess what? It's going to be hard for your first holiday as a bakery manager. And because it's your first time and it's going to be hard, but guess what? You handle hard better, because then your second Christmas. I actually just had this conversation with my bakery manager, and she goes, I just feel like this year is just going so much more organized and smooth, and I feel good about it because last Christmas was her first Christmas. And I go, and so I used that example to her, and I just said, do you know why? It's because you're handling hard better. I go, it's still hard. I go, the stress of it is still there. The way that you're handling it is just better. And so those are the three things, honestly, that I would say is just understanding that it's not going to be easy. You're going to make mistakes, but guess what? The accomplishment and, the reward behind it is absolutely worth it.
And being aware that hard things happen, being aware that mistakes happen, and kind of being owning up to that for sure.
Absolutely. I didn't mention this, but you got to have fun doing it. You have to enjoy what you do and find the greatness in it. Even though it's hard, you can still have fun doing it. And I tell my team that every single on Monday meetings is, I'll go through the roadmap. And at the end, I always talk about how we're going to have fun, how we get engaged, how we are an amazing team, and we will always have each other's backs. And that's really what it's about, is you gotta enjoy what you do, truly. I mean, no matter what you do, whether it is retail or not, you gotta love it, or it's not, I don't think you'll give the passion or the success that you can within it.
That's the whole philosophy of the rising tide lifts all boats. So when you have that attitude like that, everybody kind of follows you along with that.
Yeah, too. Absolutely.
And Carla, we'll leave you this question. I ask this at a lot of the podcasts, but what are some must-haves in your cart, or maybe on the menu? Because Hy-Vee's got those awesome, menu items too, and in food service or retail programs. So what are some staples for you?
I want to name a couple that I know that you can't get besides at Hy-Vee. Our sushi, so our nori sushi program is absolutely amazing. It's the quality of our sushi is fantastic. The variety. I can
attest to that. Yeah.
If you have not had nori sushi at Hy-Vee, I would highly recommend that's in your cart. My second one would be a chicken griller. I don't know if you even know what that is.
I don't.
Most people don't. And so the best part of this story is that it was actually created by a meat manager at Hy-Vee probably 20 years ago, at least by now. And now it's like one of our staple items. And so this meat manager at Hy-Vee had this idea of more or less taking a chicken breast, kind of like chicken cordon bleu, but it's a chicken breast and you stuff it with whether it's peppers, cream cheese. We have over 20 different varieties and flavors now of chicken grillers, but more or less it's a stuffed chicken breast. wrapped in bacon. And
on
the grill, I am telling you, it is awesome. It's my go-to. If I don't know what I'm cooking, I'm getting chicken grillers. I'm going to be honest. So, but it's the reason I mentioned it is because an employee of ours created it, and now it's one of our top selling items in our meat department across our entire company. It does, obviously quite a bit in sales across the entire company, and it was just one guy's idea that turned into a huge thing at Hy-Vee. The other thing I would say is our artisan bread in our bakery, and so it is handcrafted bread, different varieties. But what's amazing about it is, one, it's handcrafted literally at the store. It's baked at the store. The different flavors, whether it's sourdough, Asiago, jalapeno cheddar, the fact that it's just the quality of the bread, that's absolutely amazing. That I would say, if you have not tried that, I would put that in my cart. And then I would say our Hai Chai, so our Chinese department, so Chinese food is to, it's that staple item where you can come in, and that's what most people don't think about at Hy-Vee. You can come in and get your groceries and get your meal for that night. And whether it is from our Hai Chai department, market grill, deli sandwiches, but then the last one that I would mention is our meal times. And so what these are options for whether it's a single serving for a person for two, or a family size dinner. But what we do is we have different varieties, and they're in already foil pans, so it's super easy. It's not cooked, but you can get it for $6, $12, or $20, depending on obviously single, for two, or for four. But the variety that we have and the quality of them are amazing. So like one of them, my favorite that I probably eat 2 times a week, and I shouldn't admit that, but is our queso burritos. And yeah, they are really, I was beyond surprised when I tried it the first time, and I was like, I could eat this every day and be okay with it. But we have, whether it's quesos, different types of pastas. We have like a chicken fajita one that's really good. And there's an entire selection in the store. And so that's what I would say. When you don't know what you want to eat tonight and you want to keep it easy, just grab one of those, or you can grab a couple and make it throughout the week. But those are my go-to items that I would pick.
Those sound great. And the next time in store, I'm going to go check out those grillers. I don't know how I missed them. I was too busy looking at your frosting, because
they will change your world.
Yes, frosting. Gosh, well, thank you so much for joining us today, Carla. It was such a pleasure to talk with you. It was just, and I wish you luck in the next coming year for the store level, for your team, and for you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much. And if you have an idea for a TWIG podcast, we want to hear from you. So feel free to email me at lptrack@ensembleiq.com. See you next time. And thanks for listening, everybody.